Cosmic Awareness reiterates its urgent message that which is cosmic awareness is available. Please proceed. Welcome awareness, and thank you for being with us today for the Rainbow Phoenix session of the 10th of May, 2015. Wilbur Linghoff is the voice for your messages, Joan Mills is the questioner and energizer. The law of light, the law of love, the law of gratitude and the law of unity have been invoked. Is there an opening message or any event you would like to discuss at this time, please? Thank you.
That indeed, this awareness, this cosmic awareness does have a general opening message. General in that it is for the many and not simply for a few. It is a message that this awareness has spoken many times in the past, and yet the circumstances upon the planet, or upon Mother Earth, the circumstances of humanity and what is occurring in humanity and to humanity, make this oft repeated message one of great urgency again, one that should be heeded again. For the energies on the planet are of such a nature that this period of time that has been spoken of by this awareness many times in the last few months and years is becoming more critical and crucial each and every day, that the unfolding is occurring and happening, that the happening is in reference to the energies in consciousness at this time that are creating for many indeed a time of confusion, a time of desperation, a time of great fear and anxiety, and that many have come to a point now where they are uncertain of who is speaking the truth, what the truth even is. In particular, this awareness is referring to that most negative and dark energy that is rampant at this time in the state of human consciousness and the events that are taking place upon this planet. That what is important always is to recognize that one has a choice of whether or not to succumb to the fear and anxiety that is out there, whether or not to bend to the will of the many who are not awakened, who are not coming from any place of enlightenment, but rather are coming from the place of accepted beliefs regarding themselves, regarding the planet, regarding the situation that exists on this planet at this time. For the majority it is a very negative reality, one where there is little hope and much despair, little to be positive about in light of how difficult it is and how oppressive the energies that one is in seem to be. Of course, the majority look at life in line with what they have been taught, what they have been told all of their lives. They use a verification of reality as their criteria of judgment. This means that they look outside of themselves, look to the events that are being reported on their televisions and over their media, look to the evidence in their own lives of how things are disrupted at this time, confusing at this time, negative at this time. For those, however, who have begun their own spiritual journey, who have been asking questions, this time is indeed critical in that it is not simply about observing what is going on and making a choice based on the external events of one's time and one's own life, but rather to realize that all that is created in the external is the result of an internal process and internal choices, that indeed, the questions that are posed by those who believe that they have no control over their lives, that they are merely victims to whom things happen, and that largely bad things happen and that one cannot hope for good results. For as the saying goes, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is not true. This type of brainwashing rhetoric is fundamental to the maintenance of belief systems that do not allow the miraculous and the magical, cannot escape from the ensnarement of negativity that will drag them down and hold them prisoner. That this awareness has often spoken of the importance of being positive, holding hope and imagining a reality where miraculous and magical things can occur. That for the majority there is no acceptance of the statement by this awareness and others that you are creator beings, that you create your own reality. How could this be so when so many bad things are happening, when the world is in such desperation, where one's own personal life is a reflection of that which is the negative, that which is the acceptance that it is a bad world and bad things happen to people and that there is no hope or even reason to hope? For all know that if it seems too good to be true, it probably is not true, but if one holds this as a fundamental premise that has been indoctrinated into the mindset of humanity itself, and that as you, as an individual in humanity, accept this to be so, then as creator beings you will experience this. It will be your reality, and this awareness certainly does not have the right to say it is not true, for those who accept it as their truth. What awareness is saying is that now, especially now, moving forward from this now, that it is hypercritical to question this premise, this assumption and all others like it, to see that reality does not begin out there and affect you, the individual, but it begins with you, the individual, choosing to believe truths that will then be reflected out there. That your individual reality becomes a reflection and a creation of the beliefs you hold, and if you hold negative beliefs, fearful beliefs, beliefs that have no hope to them, and only the expectation of bad things happening to yourself, your family, your society and your world, then this is indeed what is created, that many wish to believe that they, as the individual, have no power or capacity to change their personal realities. This is the deepest of the corruption of the brainwashing, indoctrination, conditioning that has been applied to humanity, and it is reinforced daily, many times over, both in one's own individual life where they, the individual, see the results of a corruption of the world and how it is so that they cannot be hopeful for anything better, to the levels of society itself, that holds that there is threat everywhere, enemies everywhere, those who would destroy the society and that which society has built up. The onus, of course, is on a collective reality, that while not everyone may agree to, still applies to everyone. But if one steps away from this and begins to truly understand and work upon the premise that one is the power source, an individual, him or herself, defines the reality of experience that they are having, and one continues to work towards reinforcing this attitude, despite what others hold to be so, despite what the powers that be project upon the TV screens or the magazines and newspapers, and collective thoughts of the group of humanity, despite what they may project upon humanity, to hold that the individual is the creator being of their own lives, and to hold that if one believes that things can be all right, that things can work out, that things will work out, then one will have a quantitatively different experience of reality. But how many are willing to let go of their doubts and fears? How many are willing to let go of their what-ifs? The majority hold that it would be wonderful to truly be creator beings, but what if this is not so? What if this is wrong? Many hold they do not wish to be vaccinated, but what if the powers that be are correct? What if only by being vaccinated will one be safe from those illnesses and viruses that humanity is told over and over are out there to get you? What if, despite believing that perhaps one can create abundance and prosperity in one's life, that in truth this is not so, and one must work hard, must stay in hated jobs, must suffer economically and physically, because it is how it is, to believe that despite what seems to be evidence contrary to such positive beliefs, that such negative beliefs are stronger, will ensure that the creative force that each individual taps into, the source of spirit and divine source itself, can even apply or work at all, does take an act of faith, does mean that you must be willing to disallow the reality that surrounds you. It does require a different attitude indeed, that allows the possibility that perhaps the reality that one has bought into for so long, indeed entire lifetimes, may be incorrect, may be, as the mystics and seers ages long have said, an illusion. But the illusion is a strong one, and most coming from that unawakened state cannot and will not accept that life itself and the experiencing of life may be a grand illusion. Even those who have long been seeking their own spiritual truths still have this what if clause. What if I am wrong? It is a wonderful dream, but what if it is only a daydream and is not correct? To this awareness can only say that this is exactly the point where one must hold that despite the what if clause, despite what seems to be contrary evidence that pummels you continuously, that crushes you constantly, of the negative being so and the positive being the illusion, one must still find the strength and conviction and courage within oneself to disregard that which a majority hold to be so, to take the chance that perhaps it is true, the truth that you are a creator being, and that it is imperative at this point in particular to hold this as not only a possibility, but the very truth itself of your beingness, of your being in the physical, of your interactiveness with third dimensionality, that these truths have been long held and understood by those in power, and because they have such understanding and such knowing around this matter, they are in an imminent position to manipulate the collective mass mind and to keep the majority in a dumbed down and asleep state. This awareness is not talking to those who are in such a condition, who refuse to consider the possibility that as spirit beings, creator beings, you have the capacity to create the reality of your choice. This awareness is speaking to the many who are listening at all to this awareness or other sources, who have been considering that perhaps things are not as they seem, and certainly are not as they have been reported to be, as they have been taught by those in power to be. If you are one who is listening, who is questioning, who is searching, then this awareness says again, remember, you are a creator being, you are spirit having this physical experience, and it is your responsibility to decide for yourself what your reality will look like, what your reality will be. Every time one vacillates, one hesitates, one questions whether this could be the truth or not, puts you in danger of subjecting yourselves further to the reality of others. In this case, both the reality of those who are the controllers and manipulators, as well as the reality of the great and washed. That term being used only in reference to that which is the collective mass belief system that does not accept the miraculous and the magical of their own being, of each individual's own being. It is in reference to those who have not been baptized in the waters of high consciousness and awareness, and who hold that simply because something is held by the masses or by the majority, then this must be so. If you are one who has long been questioning and is at this stage of responsibility in the choices that you make, then this awareness does say to you, each of you, it is a crucial and critical time at this time, in this moment, to look at yourselves, to look at your beliefs, to look at how you are affected by the thoughts and beliefs of others, how you buy into those thoughts and beliefs, how you make them so and then see them reflected all around you as the reality of your experience. One can have doubts. It is part of the human condition, but despite those doubts and uncertainty, if one holds so deeply within with this present reality that is being taught to one and all as incorrect, then it is possible that a reality of one's own creation, of one who is a creator being creating for themselves, may be correct. It is critical at this time to remember when you have your doubts, when you have your fears, not to give all of yourself to these doubts and fears, to draw back, pull back from them, to look at what you wish, what you hope for. It seems indeed insane to this awareness, to Spirit Source itself, to live in a way that accepts that insanity is sanity, that to believe in the lies is the truthful way to live one's life, living a life based upon lies. But this awareness is not having your individual experience, it speaks from a source removed from that level of experience that you are having, and while it speaks continuously of the need to hold hope, to believe in the impossible as being that which is possible, of understanding yourselves as a multidimensional being that is far expanded beyond the parameters that most hold, while this awareness knows this as truth, it also understands and recognizes that each of you, each individual is going through a most critical time at this point, at this stage of the journey of humanity, of the planet itself. Remember and understand that it is not simply a collective journey of humanity, but indeed the individual journey of each spirit, of each soul aspect that is elected to come into this reality, this shared reality, with other spirit beings who are also having their own experiences. Remember that in truth you, the individual, are the determiner of your experience, and that it is quite all right from the viewpoint of Source itself for you to have a positive experience or a negative experience. That all experiences add to the cumulative whole experience of the soul and of Divine Source itself, but that you are given the capacity, the power, to create not simply negative reflections, but positive ones, that you can choose timelines of experiences that led you personally to the manifestations of a most unique and powerful experience, either in the light or in the dark, that the human experiment of separation of spirit and from spirit is coming to completion. Seen from the eternal perspective of this awareness, it is already complete, it is already done, and that there are those who have gone forward, who have created a new human experience, a new collective reality. But this is that which from a linear point of view is called the future, that this awareness can see the future, the present, and the past simultaneously, is not how most experience this, but despite this, all humans have the capacity to sense this, to understand at some very deep and powerful level, that they can determine what their future experiences may be, that they can take from their past that which either perpetuates and continues the experiences of the past, or to change those past experiences, to even denying past experiences, so that the power in the moment can create in the moment that which is the miraculous and the magical, that which is uplifted, that which is the full power of divinity and Divine Spirit itself. You are Divine Spirit, you are Divine Creator, you are having this experience at this time, and the love of the Divine Source is so great that it will allow you to have any experience that you choose, that you have this right above all other rights to choose what you wish to experience, to be what you wish to be, that at this time, this critical stage of this passage into the higher consciousness of humanity and into the higher possibilities of humanity, that each must make their own decision, must look at their lives as the reflection of their right to choose, and that it is a divine right, for you are part of Divine Spirit, you are the spark of Divine Source, that during these weeks, months and years that lie ahead in the linear sense of time, that there are strong events that are now emerging and will occur in the weeks and months ahead. During these times when there is much stress, much anxiety, much fear and much terror, remember the truth of your being and the right of your own choices, the right your own spirit being to make choices. Choose wisely, for these decisions will affect what lies ahead, but that you must also always remember you are in the moment of your power in the now, and that this being so gives you always in the moment, the possibility of changing your mind, the right to change your mind, the right to change your reality of experiences, for you are Divine Source beings, you are spirit having this experience in the now, right now, here and now, that this awareness is complete its opening message.